Um, I think everything is working. Very good. Alrighty. Yeah, just double checking. I have a slightly different audio setup today, so hopefully things will be better than last time when it comes to audio. If not, let me know. But uh, as you can see today, we have Corvo's folding blade from Dishonored, 3D printed and assembled to basically scale. It might be a little bigger, a little smaller, but that's no big deal. And today we're just going to be painting it. It's a lot smaller than the last project I was working on. So this will probably go by a bit faster. Hopefully. Because the last project ended up taking about... I don't know the exact number, but I'd say around 6 hours to paint. And not all of that is on stream. But yeah, if you're interested in checking out the first hour or so of that stream, I painted Meowmere from Terraria. Feel free to go check it out. The second and third video are just very corrupted and very not good audio. You won't be able to understand what I'm saying, but it seems like the visuals work fine, so if you just listen to it on mute, it should be fine. But like I said, different audio setup today. Hopefully it works better. And we're just going to get started today. The first color I have is a metallic paint from Folk Art. It's called Gunmetal Gray, and it is one of my favorites. One of my favorite metallic paints. It just looks really nice, really solid. So I'm just going to get started. This Gunmetal Gray color is going to be used on the blade. Just going to pour out some paint. Like that. Okay. And I'm actually going to hold the blade in my hand this time because it's something that I can do. The previous sword was a little bit too big for that. My arm would have got tired very quickly. Oh, such a good color. Like it makes projects look way more metallic than any other metallic paint. And I like that a lot. Like, I don't know if this is even showing up on camera at all, but like, you see that shine? That's pretty good. So this project was commissioned by a very good friend of mine. And of course, I thought, this is fun. This is perfect. This is a really like small, not resource intensive project. So I thought, why wouldn't I do this? Why wouldn't I take this commission? Oh, this Gunmetal Gray paint might only need one coat because I primed the blade gray. I printed it white and then primed it gray just so that it would have a little bit of a darker undercoat, I suppose. This is a very weathered and dark blade. So it made sense for me to prime it gray and print it white, which is what I did. And because of that, this blade might only need one coat of paint. Like, that's just how good the gunmetal gray is, and like how well the color priming technique works. Typically speaking, if you have a project that has a lot of light colors, you want to prime it white. And if you have a project that has a lot of dark colors, you want to prime it gray. And you can mix and match. Like, no big deal if you want to do that. But I usually try to go for one color just so I can do a big sweep and call it good. Oh, look at that. Just beautiful. This is already looking so much better. And on camera, you can see the reflectiveness. And that's not just the wetness of the paint. That is actually the gunmetal gray color that is making that reflectiveness happen. It's not like a mirror finish, but you don't want it to be a mirror finish. This is not a perfect sword by any means. And by perfect, I mean like clean. This is a very pretty sword, don't get me wrong. But this blade, it really is very thin. If you like look, I wonder if I can get this. Like, it's just so thin. It's so thin. I needed to put a metal rod in it. Otherwise, this thing would not be structurally sound at all. Just making sure I have most of the spots in here. I might do a second coat just because, but it honestly might not need it. Like, if you were to make this project yourself, you might deem that it's not necessary. But I usually strive for quality. So there's a little bit here. And now I'm going to just flip it over, do the other side. I might even be able to get this whole sword done in one stream. How crazy would that be? After the 6-hour ordeal that was my last sword, it would be quite a miracle. It would be like a blessing. Unfortunately, one of the things that I don't know anything about is the game Dishonored. I've never played it. I've never really looked into the lore on YouTube or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things I never got into. But I know that it is a good game. Don't get me wrong. I've heard only good things. I haven't heard anything bad about it. But I know nothing about it. I just know that this very pretty sword comes from it, and my friend wanted it painted and, you know, created. I printed this too. Yeah, I know nothing about it. It's a very, from what I can see, it's a pretty dark game. Dark coloristically speaking. A lot of dark colors in this game. There might be a lot of dark undertones too. I don't know. I haven't played it. But from what I could see, just a lot of dark colors, which is why this sword is very dark. You guys can actually see here, I'll hold it up to the camera, but there's that little white space on the blade. And that is actually clay that is showing from when I filled in the gaps on this sword. Whenever I make a sword, there's almost always gaps in between the two pieces, like where they connect. Like there's always just like a gap, and you need to fill it somehow. Otherwise, the blade just does not look like one piece. It looks like a very loosely thrown together piece of plastic with a metal rod through it. So what I use is I actually just use like Crayola brand modeling clay to fill the gaps. I just roll it into little clay snakes, and I just press them into the cracks, smooth them out with a bit of water, let them dry, and then bam, like I've created a surface that's very easy to sand, because the clay is just super easy to sand. And it's usually perfect. It's just a perfect seam. Now sometimes it can get a little lumpy bumpy, but a lot of it can be sanded away. It's usually not a problem. Oh, very thank you, Gore. Forgive me. I can't pronounce every name in the world. But thank you. Yes. I sure hope it looks nice. This model was taken directly from the game, Dishonored. And I only had to edit it slightly so that it could be printed. There was nothing too tough about the editing process, I guess. I just had to make it a little bit thicker. So that's why this handle's pretty thick. But it still is very comfortable to hold. Yeah, the handle thick, and I had to make the handle thicker just because the blade needed to be thicker. Otherwise, this blade is paper thin in the actual model, and I couldn't have that. I need a metal rod in there, and so I needed to make this blade thicker. And even with the metal rod, like it doesn't even go all the way through. The metal rod actually goes to about here, and then it just ends. So this tip of the blade is actually supported by nothing but the plastic bond, and now it is supported by the paint bond that is there, which is still decently strong, but if you were to try to snap it, it would snap. There would be not a lot stopping it from just snapping. Just taking a look at it. It looks very... I'm going to try and get some good camera angles of it here. It looks pretty good. It already has like a weathered look to it, which is what I want. This blade is supposed to look fairly weathered. It's got a little bit of shine to it, but I think the gunmetal gray color really does its job well here. So that is the first and potentially the only coat of gunmetal gray I'm going to put on this blade, because it already just looks fantastic. I'll probably put another coat on there just to be safe. I have a little container of water here. Just going to clean off my brush. And I'm going to move on to the next color, which will be a little bit more tricky to apply. And I'm drying off my brush on this piece of cardboard here. Nothing too fancy. Nothing too fancy here at iPrint Sword. Stay. Jeez. Actually, I need to grab my reference image. So just, I printed out a picture of the sword. This is what it looks like here. And as you can see, like in the picture, the blade looks pretty silver, like not gunmetal. But that is because there is a very intense light on it. It's actually a very darker. It's not very dark. It's darker than silver though, so that's why I went with gunmetal. I didn't want to get something in between. I can maybe add highlights of silver later, but now I'm going to move on to the handle and the crossguard, and I think I'll start with the crossguard just so that I don't get my hands all full of paint. But the crossguard is very dark. It's darker than even the gunmetal. So I have another folk art metallic paint. It's called Charcoal Black, and it's metallic, once again, non-carbon. But yes, metallic acrylic paint, folk art brand, Charcoal Black. And so this, after I shake it up, will hopefully be just, you know, super dark, but also have the reflective metallic shine to it. And that'll be a really, ooh, I'm just looking at the paint right now. It looks really good. It looks quality. So I'm actually going to get a smaller brush, just something a little bit with a thin tip to it. And I'm just going to start, where should I start? This is a tough one. I'm thinking I'll probably just start with the prongs. I don't know what they're called, if they have a name. I feel like I should know that. I feel like I should know the name. But yeah, I'm going to start with the prongs, just to get them. It's not really showing up that well on camera just because of how dark it is, how dark this project is in general. But I'll do a little section and I'll show you the difference that is happening when I paint this. When I'm actually stroking the brush across this prong here, I can feel that there's like a little twang, like there's vibrating in the plastic. That's because these little spiky things that jut out, they are just so thin. They're so thin no matter what I did that I made them solid, like a solid print. But even then, they're still pretty fragile. So I'm going to have to let my friend know about that. These were going to be fragile no matter what. But each layer of paint and each layer of primer and each layer of clear coat just makes them that tiny bit stronger. I know there's like things that I could have done where I could have put paper clips in the center, or I could have done something like that, but I think it's more trouble than it's worth. And really, if it breaks, super glue will fix it just fine. Like nothing to worry about there. The super glue will tidy it up, no problem. Oh yeah, this color looks pretty accurate already. I'm going to have to probably do multiple coats of this though, this color, this charcoal black, but probably only two, which is good. I'm so used to doing about 6 coats of paint at this point after the last project. Kind of sick of it. Man, it is hard to get a camera angle to hold this thing at where you guys can see what I'm doing. But even still, the color isn't really showing up on camera that well anyway. I'm just going to hold it pretty close here, pretty close to the camera. So here, I'm going to see if I can show you the difference. If I hold it really close, it kind of shows up. Not really. You can kind of see like the shine. Like it is black. It is just black. So that that is what it's supposed to look like. But when the light hits it at the right angle, you can see the shine. I wonder if I can adjust my I have a house light here. Oh, you guys can kind of see. Do. Oh, how's that? Look at that. You can see that a bit. Yeah. So there's the difference right there. Like, that's the black prong that I just painted. And then there's a gray, black, gray, black, gray. Yeah, that's a pretty clear difference. That you can actually see. So I think I'll keep the light like this right now, but my shadow might be a little in the way sometimes. Nothing to worry about though. Actually, maybe I'll rotate this camera just a little bit. You can see a little bit more of me now, but whatever. Yes. All right, I'm just going to continue along this. There's this little railing that goes across and around the entire thing, and it's all the same color. It's all this black metallic color. If you are watching this in the very near future, I'm going to be launching a website where you can commission me to print your models that you find from various media that you don't have the ability to print, or you don't know how to paint it, you don't want to spend all of the money on the materials. That's where I come in. I will do everything as long as you provide the model. And there's a lot of free model websites that you can look at. Send me the model. I'll tell you how much it'll cost, and then I'll paint it. I'll print it and I'll paint it. Because this is what I love to do. This is like my favorite thing to do. Just making my way around. This one, I have to be a little bit more delicate, especially since I don't want to risk breaking this thing. This just unfortunately is an unavoidably fragile project, I'd like to say. Like no matter what I did to it, it would be fragile in some way or another, which is kind of unfortunate. But also, this project is on the cheaper side. It would not cost that much. It did not cost me too much to make. I had to purchase a few new paints. I had to purchase this metallic black color. And I got a few new browns. Well, not a few. A couple new browns for the handle. So we'll be taking a look at those later. But for now, I'm just making my way around this circle. Just loosely putting a coat of paint along here. Oops. Accidentally hit the camera stand with the tip of the blade, no problem. I gotta get the underside of this. I'll probably only do one coat of paint for this stream, just so that this stream is on the shorter side. But I'll have the completed sword as a video on YouTube. There's a link to my YouTube on Twitch. There's not much on there right now, but I can assure you that within the next couple weeks there will be several videos up for you to watch, and only more on the way. Yeah, just a YouTube channel. I print swords. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, two of the prongs. Just making my way around, starting on the third prong. Oh, I'll actually, while I'm on the crossguard, I will talk about an issue that I ran into with this print. So I printed this on a Creality Ender 3, and it was in 4 pieces. The blade was 2 pieces, and the crossguard and half of the handle were a piece, and the bottom of the handle was the final piece. I'll show you where they split. So like, blade split about here, and blade split like right at the base of it where it attaches to the crossguard, and then on the handle it broke off like about here. So yeah, I have those 4 pieces. And to save on supporting material, I actually printed the crossguard so that it was upside down. And my printer just did this big brain play where it decided to print the prongs starting at the very tips of the prongs. It started to print those from that single point. So layer by layer, it actually went up and up and up and up and up from a single point of plastic attached to the print bed. If you're not a 3D printing person, you might not know what I'm talking about. But I would like to. I don't know if there is a term for this, but I'm going to call it printer overconfidence. Like, it mathematically thinks that it should be able to print this entire thing from a single point with no other supports at all. And you know what? It actually almost succeeded. And I wasn't paying attention because I just went to sleep. I was tired that night, and I thought, man, I'm so tired, I'm just going to trust it. I think it can do it. And I didn't realize that it wasn't going to put supports underneath the print where I thought it would, because that's why I flipped it over to save on support material. Turns out it just didn't have hardly any. It barely had any support material at all. But it actually almost succeeded. It almost made it. It almost did it with almost no support material. It managed to print from a single point, or in this case, 4 single points, all the way up into the actual base of the crossguard without issue. However, this back prong, this one right here, it fell off. Mid-print, it just fell off. And it somehow finished the print flawlessly, except for the back prong just falling off, just clean off. And I thought, wow, that's impressive, but also stupid. Come on, printer. You know better than that. But so I had a problem, I guess. I had a choice to make. I could either reprint the piece, or I could reattach the back prong somehow. And I decided to reattach the back prong using just normal Gorilla super glue, and it was stuck there good. Like, it worked. It bonded almost instantly, and like bada bing bada boom, it was fine. However, there was just this hollow area, like right underneath the prong, where the print ended, and that's like the point in the print where it fell off. And I had to fill this gap somehow. So I've already explained how I fill gaps. I just did that again on the back of the prong, and now it looks good. You can barely tell the difference. You can barely tell that the prong fell off. So now, if my friend is watching this, after he receives his sword, I'm curious if he'll recognize that the back prong had fallen off before he watches this stream on as a VOD. Because I feel like you wouldn't be able to notice unless you knew, you know? The clay just did such a good job of making it look natural that I don't know. I don't think he'll be able to tell the difference unless he's listening right now. I don't think he is, though. Okay. I missed a spot over here. Hold on. Doop-a-doop. I missed a lot of spots, so I'm just gonna have to like look around the sword and see where I missed. There's a lot of little cracks and crevices that need to be filled with this black paint, so I have to worry about that a little bit. This rod too, it's round, so I'm gonna have to go all the way around the rod, which is a little bit annoying, but no big deal. No big deal. I feel like I'm making so much progress right now because I spent so unbearably long on the last project. Just far too long. If I'm not going to price it this way, but if I were to price my previous project based on my typical dollars per hour input when I calculate the pricing for myself, like the sword would cost over $200, which is just stupid. Like, no one would reasonably pay for that, and I don't expect anyone to, which is why in the future I'm just going to have different paints. But I can say with confidence that so far these paints are looking very good. I'm confident in these paints. They look solid already, which is what I like to see. Especially the gunmetal gray, just such a good paint. I cannot recommend the gunmetal gray enough. Like, it's just so good. I used it on a previous project as well, and I'm going to be using it again in the future. On an upcoming project, actually the very next project that you guys will be seeing on this Twitch channel. Yeah, I'm going to be using it then. I'm going to be using it well into the future, I'm sure, just because it's so good. I know it sounds like that's all I have to say about it, but if there were more swords that I could paint in gunmetal gray, I'd be happy. I'd be satisfied. Just knowing I get to use the gunmetal gray again. Just getting around the base here, because this base here is all the same metallic. From a color perspective, this sword is very simple. It's like 2 base colors and then one wood texture. Wood texture is a little bit more complicated, but it's still very cheap on the paint side of everything, which I like. I feel like I could use this black metallic paint, this charcoal black it's called. I feel like I could use this to emulate grease. Like if I wanted to paint grease on something, I feel like this would be the paint to use. If just water it down a little bit, make it look like grease. I feel like it would work. It could also fail miserably, which would also not surprise me because I've never done it before, and anything I haven't done before, if I try it, it usually goes wrong at least once, including 3D printing and painting and everything in between. I've made so many projects at this point that I feel like I've learned from my mistakes. We'll see if that holds true. But we're getting close here. I'm just looking around. Let me just take a look in the light. Oh, we're getting close. Just a few more little places. I'll bring it back to the camera in just 1 second. I need the light. I need to like hold it right next to my super bright light that I have here just to see what I'm even doing with this part. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment. It's like the underside of the railing, the little round bar that goes around the top. I can't see underneath it really without this super bright light. So apologies, but this is how it has to be right now. It's getting all the way around the edge. Okay, I think that'll do it. Okay, here it is, back in frame. So there's just this underside of it that I'm going to be painting. It won't really be on camera, I suppose, but it'll only be a couple minutes. Oh my gosh, look at the time. 39 minutes? I feel like I'm on world record pace. Oh, it's just going so easy right now. So if you're watching this and you think to yourself, man, I want to see a different sword from Dishonored. Well, like I said, in the near future, I will have a website that I will link to on Twitch and every other social media platform that I have. And it will basically say, commission me. I'll make swords from Dishonored again. Watch me. And just like that, we're done with that first coat of the black. Let's see if I can... Oh yeah, you can see it. It's looking pretty decent, huh? Yeah. So I'm going to clean off my brush once again. I'm going to dry it off on my trusty piece of cardboard. I've seriously had that piece of cardboard for far too long. It's probably moldy and gross. Just kidding. It's not moldy and gross. I have had it forever though. The blade feels dry, so I think I am going to hold it by the blade as I paint the handle. And I'm looking at the handle right now, and I can see, here, let me just show you actually. So if you look on the handle, there are some of the metallic black details that like run along it and are at the pommel. But I think I'm going to add those black metallic details last because I want to get a perfect wood grain texture, or at least look, on here before I add the metallics. Just because I think it'll be easier to paint over it. So I have a couple of paints here. I have a reddy brown color from Deco Art. It's called Milk Chocolate, but it honestly does not look like milk chocolate. And I also have an Apple Barrel Gloss Real Brown. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a base coat of the Deco Art, or Deco Art, or Deco Art. It could be anything. I don't care. I say Deco Art because it reminds me of Legend of Zelda. Anyway, so I'm going to paint a base layer of this, and then this real gloss brown is going to be a darker color, but I think it will also add the look of it's stained. It's like a stained wood. So I might do multiple coats of this, so just so that I have a good base color, and then like one thin coat of this dark brown. It'll weather it. It'll make it look like it's stained wood. Hopefully, this is the plan. So let's see if it actually works out. So I'm holding it by the blade now. Holding this sword by the blade, and it doesn't feel wet, so that's good. Oh, let me close this black paint, the charcoal black. I'm closing it with one hand because I don't want to set this thing down on the table. Okay. Okay, I need another brush, a third and final brush probably. I'll probably just take a thicker one. I need to one-hand it. Okay. Yes, I got it. Okay, so the reason I want a thicker one is just so I can have bigger, wider strokes, make it look a little bit more like wood grain if possible. Unscrew the cap. Ooh, I'm liking the look of this color. It's looking a lot like the picture already, just looking at this Deco Art color. Now this is going to be visible. This is going to be visible on camera. I can almost guarantee it. Oh, look at that. Look at that glob. All right, let's do it. Oh, yes. Look at that. This is going to be a perfect color. It's going to take a few coats, this one. However, it's going to look perfect. Like, this is like the perfect shade of like orangey brown that I needed to get that perfect color of wood that is used in the sword itself. I don't actually know what type of wood is used in Corvo's folding blade. However, I think I got the color just right. And like I said, this will be darker once it's done, because I'm going to be putting that darker real brown over it. Oh, man, it's satisfying. it really is satisfying how close to the picture, the reference image that I have, this color is. It's just, there's no other feeling like it. Oh, so yeah, I'm even going to get this bottom area down here, even though I know that it's black, just because I want a consistent base coat going on. I'll paint the metallic black over it later. No big deal. Oh, man. It's so nice. It's so nice that it's coming together. I've had this sword like primed and ready for the last week or so. And I've just been like trying to get all my streaming stuff ready and all of my everything set up. And now that it's finally set up, I get to finally just put coats of paint on this. And it feels good. And even with this paint, it's okay if it's just slightly lumpy bumpy. Usually I try to get like a really smooth finish or whatever. But with the wood portion, it's okay if it's just a tiny bit lumpy bumpy. Because it's wood. It's a wood texture. And sometimes you need a little bit of lumpy bumpy to get that looking right. But if a paint is too lumpy bumpy, it can kind of ruin a project. So pick your paints wisely. Always do test paints. Just get like a piece of paper or something. Put like 3 or 4 coats on one spot. Like using the recommended amount of wait times in between coats. Just to see what happens. Because if it doesn't work or if it doesn't look good, your project's not going to look good. Simple as that. Now I'm just getting the interior of the finger hold here. There's like this really big finger groove. And like, I don't know if you can see like the proportions, but when I hold this blade in my hand, the natural reaction is to put 2 fingers into this first groove and the rest of my fingers. I feel good. Da, na, 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 na. Oh, yes. No, I agree. I completely agree. Tercero insecto. I agree with you completely. It feel good. It do feel good. If you've ever painted a project and it just works out on the first try, like you don't have to paint over it again, like you don't have to start over. It's just such a good feeling. And with that, actually, I am going to get right along close to the black border. I have a feeling that it'll be dry enough where it shouldn't interfere. Yeah, it looks fine. So I'm just going to very carefully make my way around this circle. I might need to use a thinner brush for some of these portions. However, it'll work. Hablo español. Hi, AJ. Yeah, I struggle with languages. I really do. I struggled in high school Spanish. I tried sign language last semester. Just did not work. So sorry if your name is in another language and I can't read it. I I support the thin brush. Yeah, I do too. I do too. I mean, it's necessary. It is very necessary for this paint. Hello. It feels good to make progress. There's so much progress being made here. I might even have to end this stream. I might actually have to end the stream because I'm at a point, like I've done a layer. I've done a layer along the whole sword. And I need to wait for it all to fully dry before I can do another one. Okay, so I have only been recording for about 52 minutes. And like I need to wait an hour before I can apply another coat of paint on any of these places. So unless you want to like here, I'll just keep talking while I clean off my brush and stuff. But you would need to wait for a hot like 8 minutes of nothing. Which I don't know, maybe you do. But also, if you want to see the completed project, it'll be posted on my YouTube channel in a few days. That's the plan, anyway. So I'm just going to, here, I'll just hold this. I'll stand up and I'll just like put it in front of the camera. So this is the blade. And that's just one coat. That's just one coat, and it took me 54 minutes. And I was like somewhat distracted while talking and stuff too. So this is going to be a really quick paint. The rest of it will be. But I think I am going to end it there. Man, I thought I'd be streaming for longer tonight, but yeah. If you want to see the completed project, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It will be there for you to see the completed video. I will also be... what will I also be doing? Oh, right. I'll actually be posting this painting session on the YouTube channel as well, in case you want to watch it. It looks good. I'm just looking at it right now. I'm happy with this already. And that's just the first coat of paint. I'm happy. So anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Next time, I'm going to be painting Virtuous Contract from Nier Automata. It is an absolutely massive sword. It's 5 feet 6 inches long. So I hope you guys tune in to that struggle. Just kidding. It'll be fun. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.